Hey everybody, Sean here, and today we'll look at what Robert Morris says on tithing. So let's jump right in. If you're not familiar with Robert Morris, he's the prosperity preacher at Robert Morris Ministries and the senior pastor of Gateway Church in Dallas, Texas. He's probably most well known for his book, The Blessed Life, where you can learn the simple secret of achieving guaranteed financial results, because that's what's important to God. And if after buying that book, you still don't feel blessed enough, you can get his second book that goes beyond being blessed. And once again, it's all about financial matters. His views on tithing have been examined in the past, as well as reviews on his book from a biblical perspective. And this writer concludes by saying that he can only offer caution against this book. Why? Because The Blessed Life has no comfort for the suffering believer. It gives many practical tips for living, offers many proverbs that may result in greater financial freedom, but it spends too much time on improving conditions of this fleeting life. And in doing so, it offers solutions that don't transfer to impoverished cultures and countries. Put simply, it doesn't preach good news for all people. Instead, it contains some good advice for middle and upper class Americans who continue to live in a land of opportunity and opulence. So, with that being said, let's start off with a short clip of some things Robert Morris says about tithing.
Listen to me carefully, because I'm going to say something very strong. Any person that doesn't tithe is arrogant. Because you believe you can make it your way and not doing it God's way. And you have to be arrogant to steal from God. And you have to be arrogant to steal from God. You have to be extremely arrogant to steal from God.
So right from the start, he lays on the guilt trip that if you don't tithe, you are an arrogant thief stealing from the Almighty.
And please understand, if you don't tithe, that's an open door to demons. Because that's exactly what the enemy does. He's a thief. And you're allowing God, you're allowing Satan to get you to be a thief, but not only a thief, but stealing from God. And I don't say that to make you feel condemned or to argue about tithing. I'm telling you, that's an open door, and no matter how many doors you close in your life, if you're not a tither, you've always got an open door to the enemy. And this is exactly what Nebuchadnezzar did. He stole two things. He stole the tithe, and he stole the next generation.
So he throws in another guilt and fear tactic that you are opening doors to demons if you don't tithe. And the Bible verse to support this is found in the book of Never Was Said, chapter 3. So, in the next clip, we'll hear Todd White give his support for this man, and then we'll look at the truth behind tithing in the Bible.
Robert Morris is labeled in that same category. Like he's just a prosperity preacher. He's one of the most amazing speakers I've ever heard on tithing and offerings and stuff, bringing up biblical truth that is so ridiculously crazy, it's actually scary. That Blessed Life, never ever read anything like it in my whole life. And if you can't be a person that is a tither or an offerer, you limit yourself. You're stopping yourself from receiving God's blessing. Why? Because why would God bless you when you can't even be a steward of what you have? And if you can't be a person that is a tither or an offerer, you limit yourself. You're stopping yourself from receiving God's blessing. You're stopping yourself from receiving God's blessing.
Okay, there's two things wrong with what Todd says. Actually, many, but we'll just focus on the two things in this clip. The first thing, he says that if we don't tithe, we are stopping ourselves from receiving God's blessing. So if we don't tithe, God won't bless us. How about all of those people that are stone cold broke and can't tithe? They can't even feed themselves. Not to mention that what he says is nowhere in the Bible. And the second thing is that tithing is Old Testament. First fun fact is that tithe in Hebrew means tenth, although people usually gave closer to 20% if you do a more in-depth study on this. Second, the tithe is tied to the land of Israel received under the Old Covenant and referred to crops and livestock. And third, there is not one mention of tithing in the New Testament. Should we give to the church? Yes, of course. In fact, we're told in many verses to support those who shepherd churches and preach the gospel. But in 2 Corinthians 9:7 it says, each one should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not out of regret or compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So give what you can because you want to, not because you feel you have to. That's what truly matters to God. Yet all these prosperity preachers make it about the giving and receiving trade-off. Truly sad indeed. So yes, give to your church as you can and do it with a joyful heart. And until next time, take care and God bless.